it should be. So some other guys that who get tested, which theirs later that day.
Lydia, are you going to hit? Okay, perfect. Welcome everybody to the final session. Welcome, welcome. It's been a long day, but we're here together again for this final closing remarks here. We'll give you guys just a minute or so to get in. Happy end of your day. It's 4 o'clock, almost the end of the day. Some of you might actually be staying later, so thank you very much for giving up your time and staying later if that's what you're doing. Thank you so much. It has been a fabulous 2 days. I have very much enjoyed myself listening to some amazing and very talented people. I'm sure that you all have too. It has been such an accompanying conference this year. I do want to say, as people are continuing to just come in and get situated, please don't forget to log back into that Pathable website. Our speakers had files that they have uploaded their PowerPoints after their presentations. So if you're looking for copies of PowerPoints or slides, please make sure that you go back to that Pathable website to check for those PowerPoints. You can also find the recordings of all of the sessions and the videos on the same Pathable website in each of those individual session pages. There will also be, of course, the chat transcript as well. So I just want to say thank you very much for attending the 2021 Kansas Home Visiting Conference virtual this year. Hopefully not much virtual going forwards after this, but I really appreciate it. I want to say just it truly has been, I think, a unique experience. From what I've heard from people, the sessions this year have been different than sessions in the past. From the need to have racial equity conversations in several of our spaces, including through reflective supervision, to maternal warning signs webinars that are being offered and information packets that are being made and distributed for home visitors to easily take with them on visits for discussion with new moms in the hope of saving lives, to trusted ways to decrease stigma of home visiting services in order to increase family recruitment, to today's keynote and breakout sessions focusing on the incredibly crucial role that home visitors and other adults have in shaping the way that this next generation of Kansans are going to view and interact with and move through this world of ours. These past 2 days have been fully loaded with essential and impactful information and conversation. So thank you for your attendance, and thank you to our outstanding speakers for being willing to share their experience and their expertise with all of us. I shared in my opening remarks that the National Home Visiting Resource Center reported that in 2020, there were 10,104 children that were served with 71,887 visits. These are incredible figures to me, not just because we were in a pandemic during that time, but I went back and looked. In 2018, Kansas home visitors were serving more children, so 2,240 children, but they received less visits, and it wasn't even a pandemic year. So home visitors, you guys are truly remarkable. And of those visits, 20,000 of those almost were virtual. So I saw in schools the huge gaps for some folks in technology education, knowing how to use it, and also access. And yet in a short amount of time, you home visitors were able to learn programs, get into homes, get your families the access that they needed, get them understanding how to use these virtual platforms. And I just want to say it is commendable. I truly cannot imagine how hard you have worked. But I also want to say that part of this in National Home Visiting Resource Center report also outlined that we still have some work to do. They said that they had collected data that said that there were 172,700 pregnant women and families with children under 6 years old that could have benefited from home visiting in 2020. That includes 222,700 children. So I know you've done so much work already, but I also know that you're ready to keep working, or else you wouldn't have come to this conference to learn more and to continue to strive for better. So I just want to say that I've kind of come across this quote that came up to me again yesterday. It's a quote that it always comes to me when I think about, doing hard work. And even though some of you are on the ground level, and maybe you have, I don't know, 12 families that you see, and you feel like, you have these hard days and you maybe aren't making a big difference. But Dr. Moore reminded us of this earlier today as well, because when we know better, then we can do better, right? So the quote that comes to mind for me is from Alice Walker, and her quote is, "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking that they don't have any." And I want you to know that I hope you're not giving up your power, because you have tremendous power in everything that you do with these families. You are truly shaping the future of Kansas. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to think about, for almost a minute, about the real and true power that you have, and that that power can be used, it can be used for good, but it can also be used to hurt. So I want you to start thinking about the families that you interact with, and whether it's in their home or online. And I want you to think about the ways that you respond to them, what your interactions look like, the ways that you respond to the questions that they ask you while you're in their homes, or maybe in an email or a text message or a voicemail. I want you to think about the hard conversations that you've already had with them, but also the ones that that you're going to have coming soon. I want you also to just, again, think about maybe not, the things you can do right in this moment at the end of the day on a Tuesday, but maybe starting tomorrow. So here's what I would like us to do. In your head, on a piece of paper, in the chat, maybe you're sitting next to a colleague, I would like you to think about 3 things that you learned between yesterday and today. Doesn't have to be huge, big things, tidbits, words, just what are 3 things that you learned, that just new little things. That could be a twist on something, or something you thought you knew and it's just changed a little, or you thought about a way to make it a little better. I want you to think about 2 ways that you can actually put those things that you learned into practice. So what is that going to look like? If I want to start talking about race during my reflective supervision, does that mean that I have to talk to my supervisor specifically and ask that person, hey, can we make a space during reflective supervision so I can talk about how I feel about race and how I can talk to my families about race? And then lastly, I want you to think about just what's one change, right? Change is always happening. Change can sometimes be negative, but change typically can also help us grow and be better individuals. So what is one change that you can make in your personal or professional life that has stemmed from the learning that you gained over these past 2 days? And hopefully you have a plan for implementing that change as well. And I'm going to stop talking here for a while so you can start thinking about these 3 things you learned, the 2 ways you can put some of them into practice, and what's one change you really want to make. Like I said, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to share with your colleagues. Tina, I want to say thank you for sharing in the chat. She said that she's learned different ways of addressing hard topics, and that a way that she can start talking about that is to give stories, which can help, right? Dr. Moore, that was today. I think all of us had our eyes opened quite a bit when she let us know what had happened, her personal story, and how that connected with us, how that made you feel. Think about a story that you could share with your families and how that could impact them as well. Shelley said she liked the idea of asking, how do you identify as opposed to asking someone what their race or identity is. I love that. It's hard, right? Some of these things, some of us might be stepping into an area where we've never been before, and it's scary, and you're worried about hurting someone's feeling or not saying the right thing. But my personal message is always, what is better not talked about? I've yet to figure something out. What's better not talked about? I don't know, because typically the more we talk about something, the more we can come to an understanding, the more we can appreciate each other and continue to go along in this world together. Thank you very much to Melissa for sharing the 1-800-CHILDREN app and the information. Carol, thank you for sharing that. How do you teach children to value that which they are taught not to see? And if you don't see something, it means, yes, what Dr. Moore shared this morning. Carol, thank you for echoing Dr. Moore's sentiments. Thank you guys very much. This has been a tremendous 2 days. I know it's been a long day today as well. So thank you for taking the time to reflect, pick those 3 things you learned, 2 ways you can make a change, 2 ways you can implement those new learning pieces, and also 1 change you can make. I really just want to say your entire KDHE home visiting program staff, we're all new. We have been there now for a few months, and we all are just so, in my California slang, stoked to keep it going. We love this momentum. We're starting the new fiscal year for McV programs, which I know it's not all of you, but we just want you to know that we are here for all home visitors. If you ever have a question, if you'd like to see something specifically focused on, maybe you have an idea for next year's home visiting conference, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We do have an evaluation of this conference that we would really love for you to fill out. We'll put a link to that evaluation in the chat so that you can let us know how we can improve for next year and anything else that you might need. Otherwise, I just want to say again, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you so much for all of your attentiveness. Every session I was in, we had participants continually engaging with speakers. So thank you very much. Just true professionals. And I will give you guys these last 15 minutes of your day. Go out and enjoy this beautiful autumn weather. It's a little warm today, but that's all right. And I look forward to hearing from you, and please continue to be your amazing selves and show that power and use it for good. Thank you so much.